If your first goal is balance and you're fresh into the workforce and you don't have a lot to offer, you've already failed at your goal of being successful in life. And you will absolutely be at the mercy of your employers.
There's no fucking human in the history of the world that's ever achieved anything remarkable that had balance. Balance is the weirdest, dumbest, stupidest thing. People that desire balance are gonna be mediocre by the definition of balance. But if you want more, it's gonna require you to sometimes go deep in the paint, go work at something. No person that's ever won Olympic gold, became a multi-millionaire, no person in the history of the freaking universe has ever done that and had balance. Can you get better so that you have more space for other people you love? 100%. Can you learn how to be more efficient? Yeah, you should. If you don't, that's because you're not good enough, yet.
What this guy's saying is spot on. And I did a work-life balance episode, 6 months ago. And my thought was to the young guys, to the young generation, I said, you don't need work-life balance. You just need work, period. Those who are seeking balance coming out of college, those who are seeking balance coming out of high school, trying to find their career, if you're trying to find balance first, you're going to fail 100% of the time. It is impossible to be successful at something that has to be built while maintaining balance. That doesn't mean that there's people that win the lottery and become millionaires. Doesn't mean that there's the guy or gal who created the $1 million idea. Those are one-offs. I'm talking about those things that require you to design and build and implement and maintain. If you want to be great at something, and he talks about being an Olympic athlete, if you want to make it to NFL, if you want to make it to collegiate levels, you have to forego things that will give you balance. And that means time with friends, time with family, time for yourself, right? You have to forego all of that.
Yep.
And you have to give it all up. You have to be so weighted on one side of your mission that there is no room for anything else. Balance will come when the work that you've put in, that weighted balance of work, starts to pay dividends. And you start to see the scale starts to balance out because the rewards are starting to stack up. That is when balance comes.
One of our job applicants, the first thing you see on his resume on the description said, striving for work-life balance. I don't know how any employer would look at that and think that that's employable. Because how I view that is, okay, you don't want to work a 40-hour work week. You want to be able to have more flexibility with your family, which is totally fine. But you can't expect someone who on the job description tells you to be at work from these hours. You still apply thinking that we're just going to adapt to your schedule. That's just impossible, right? That's not how we do things. And then when I was on the phone, just hearing what he was saying, I was like, yeah, not a good fit for what we do because you want flexibility. And like, again, that's fine if that's what you're striving for. But if you're trying to work for somebody else, you're going to have to fall in line with what they do. And if not, like, sorry, like you're not the right candidate. But it does remind me too of like when I was in my 20s trying to strive for, the sports reporting gigs and really working my way. I was producing my own show and there were sleepless nights where I was staying awake till, 4 or 5 in the morning to get a whole show produced. And obviously at that time I was much slower at writing, filming, editing. Whereas now I can find the balance better because I can get the job done quicker. So I know how to edit. I know how to film. Like I know how to do all those things that I need for my platform to the point where like I don't need to spend 15 hours a week even on my content. I can get stuff done a couple hours for the week. So what he was mentioning too, efficiency as you get older, your processes, things just start to flow better. So anyone in their 20s who says, oh, I need work-life balance and this and that, like if you really want something, it should be a no-brainer. There shouldn't be a balance.
And you won't find balance in when you're starting out in the workforce. And I tell the young people coming in, you're straight out of college, you don't have any experience. College doesn't qualify as experience. It only qualifies as secondary education in a field in which you thought you were going to go into. A lot of times that doesn't even apply. By your mid-30s, you should have acquired enough experience and knowledge and know-how that when you do show up to an employer, you know how to balance or leverage rather your talent, your expertise into that organization where you can find balance in work. I don't have a problem with anybody saying, hey, I want to work 8 to 5, no problem. The world runs on 8 to 5 people. I'm specifically talking about people who say, I want to move up the ladder. I want to make more money. I want to gain more knowledge. Then you're going to have to dive deep into your work. You're going to have to work after hours. You're going to have to work weekends. You're going to have to put that time in. If your first goal is balance and you're fresh into the workforce and you don't have a lot to offer, you've already failed at your goal of being successful in life. And you will absolutely be at the mercy of your employers, because your gain of knowledge, your speed of that, the acquisition of the knowledge that you're going to obtain with your employers is going to be very slow, because you're going to limit your employer what they want to task you with, because they know that you're a balance guy or a balance girl. Well, they're not going to give you the heavy projects. You're going to continue to get the leftovers. And whereas your peers who are driven, who are tasked with, I want to gain knowledge, who are going to work late, they're going to fly right by you.